The following is an EWTN special presentation.
Good afternoon. I'm Tracy Sable with EWTN News Nightly, welcoming you to EWTN's coverage of the One Life LA pro-life event taking place in California. There will be many pro-life speakers taking part to focus on love and mercy, as well as the beauty and dignity of every human life. We take you now to Los Angeles for One Life LA.
Todos somos familia. Marcela, no sé si ya estamos listos para irnos con el video de introducción, así es que vamos a darle.
We're ready. We're getting ready to introduce to you a special video made for all of you on behalf of One Life.
After the past 22 months of experiencing the hardships and struggles of the pandemic, we are beginning to witness a glimmer of hope. Our world has been rocked with great pain, loss, and fear, but we have been given a task to be a people of light, a people of hope. Even when our world seems riddled with burdens and pains, we recall that God has great plans for us. God has designed a future of hope for all of us. Our witness to the sanctity of the human being in all stages of life, from conception to natural death, is needed even more now in society. Today, as we gather once again in person for One Life LA, we will serve to be bearers of hope, witnesses to the great beauty and dignity of humanity. May our gift of hope spread abundantly to others and bring the joy of life to our neighborhoods. Thank you for your support, One Life LA family. Thank you for being here today as we all go forward in hope, celebrating the beauty and dignity of every human life.
Let's hear it for One Life LA, moving forward in hope. And just by you being here today, this is serving, JC. This is being present in your community and supporting something so important. So we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. So good afternoon, everybody. Who just joined us a couple minutes ago? Who's joining us? Who did the walk this morning? All right, we love it. So welcome. This is our 8th annual One Life LA. It's so beautiful, so wonderful to see you all here today. My name is Marcela Luevanos, and I am so happy to be with all of you once again in person. We missed you all greatly. And JC, we're going to continue with our program. We have so much good music. We have invites of all sorts, and this is just the beginning.
Claro que sí, estamos pues comenzando con este evento. De verdad es maravilloso estar de nueva cuenta con todos ustedes. Para nosotros es nuestro tercer año, pero esto ya es el 8º aniversario de One Life LA. Así es que, bueno, estamos contentísimos, tenemos invitados, tenemos música y esto solo es el comienzo.
Absolutely. So thank you for your commitment and for walking with us today from Olvera Street here to the park. I mean, it's a warm day, so I am just so excited that you all made it out, and I hope you guys continue to invite your family and friends to keep on joining us. Thank you for everybody watching from home, those listening on the radio, and thank you to our media partners, EWTN, El Sembrador, Relevant Radio, Guadalupe Radio, and also everyone else who assisted in broadcasting live for their programs. Thank you so much for your involvement.
Claro que sí, gracias a todos los medios de comunicación, a todas las personas que están subiendo sus videos y que hacen tag a One Life LA. Recuerden usar el hashtag One Life LA y por supuesto también escanear los banners que están por ahí. Pueden obtener toda la información. Gracias a todos ustedes. Estamos totalmente en vivo para todo el mundo.
Absolutely. And we have people, JC, I know I mentioned it earlier, but we have people from all over Southern California. So where are people from the San Bernardino Riverside area? Do we have people? Oh, my God, right here in front of us. How about Orange County? Yes. Fullerton, San Diego, Fresno,
Sacramento.
We have parts from all over, so thank you so much. This is so beautiful, JC.
Claro que sí, y bueno, pues qué maravilla, es muy bonito ver tanta gente unida el día de hoy. La verdad es que nos emociona mucho estar todos juntos celebrando la vida como una gran familia. Y llegó el momento de presentar a la persona que inspiró este gran evento, a la persona que nos ha unido por tantos años y que gracias a él este evento se lleva a cabo, Marcela.
Definitely, it's our inspiration, and we are ready to start with a very special message from the person that had the vision for what is today One Life LA. Are you guys ready to receive him? We are so grateful for his leadership and his support to this beautiful event. Please join me in welcoming Archbishop Jose Gomez.
Thank you very much. Greetings, my dear friends. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for your witness to the beauty and sanctity of human life. I also want to welcome those who are joining us from all over the country and the world, watching and listening over the channels of EWTN, El Sembrador, ESNE, Guadalupe Radio, and Relevant Radio. I'm grateful to our broadcasting partners. They are good friends, and they have been with us from the beginning of One Life LA 8 years ago. Once again this year, we have gathered to march peacefully and joyfully to proclaim our vision of an America where every human life is sacred, where every person is cherished and welcome, especially the weakest and most vulnerable. One Life LA has always been more than a procession and more than an event. One Life LA is a movement of love and peace. We are seeking to build a new culture and a new way of life in our country. Bienvenidos todos a One Life LA. Desde luego también todos los que nos acompañan a través de EWTN, El Sembrador, Guadalupe Radio y Relevant Radio. One Life LA siempre ha sido más que una procesión y más que un evento, es un movimiento de amor y de paz. Estamos buscando construir una nueva cultura y un nuevo modo de vida en nuestro país. And my dear friends, this year, I am really hopeful. I believe this year is going to mark a turning point in our long journey to build a culture of life. 49 years ago, on this day, the U.S. Supreme Court established a constitutional right to abortion. But this year, it seems that the court is finally ready to recognize the tragedy of that decision and to at least impose stricter limits on abortion. This is great news. Thanks be to God. And it is a tribute to every one of you. Every one of you, your prayers and sacrifices, to all your patient work over this long half-century. Thanks to you, and by the grace of God, we can see the day coming when the dignity and rights of the unborn child are finally respected and protected. Yeah. So este año tenemos mucha esperanza, que será un año, un momento en el que se marcará un punto determinante a este largo camino para construir la cultura de la vida. Después de tantos años, desde que la Suprema Corte de los Estados Unidos estableció el derecho constitucional del aborto, parece que finalmente este año la Corte está dispuesta a reconocer la tragedia de esa decisión y al imponer al menos algunos límites más estrictos para el aborto. Gracias a Dios y gracias a todos ustedes por sus oraciones, por su esfuerzo en la cultura de la vida. So, for now, my dear friends, we need to keep going. Our work is far from done. This is our theme for this year, One Life LA, Forward in Hope. We need to keep going to create a culture of care and compassion for women facing challenging pregnancies. We need to keep going to promote alternatives to abortion, such as an adoption. My friends, we need to be working for an America where it is easier for men and women to get married, easier for them to raise strong and healthy families. Yes. An America where it is easier for mothers and fathers to balance the demands of work and family. This is the next step in our long journey to build a culture of life in America. Every Catholic family, every Catholic parish must take up this responsibility to walk with mothers in need. Tenemos que seguir adelante. Nuestro trabajo está lejos de haber terminado. Por eso el tema de One Life LA este año es Avanzamos con Esperanza. Necesitamos seguir adelante para crear una cultura en que haya cuidado y compasión hacia las mujeres que enfrentan embarazos con problemas. Tenemos que seguir promoviendo alternativas para el aborto como lo es la adopción. Seguir trabajando para que los Estados Unidos sea un país el que sea más fácil que los hombres y las mujeres se casen, en el que se les facilite tener familias fuertes y saludables. Un país en el que las madres y los padres de familia puedan balancear las demandas del trabajo y de la familia. Este es el siguiente paso de nuestro largo viaje. Sigamos trabajando especialmente para construir la cultura de la vida en los Estados Unidos y que toda familia y toda parroquia tengan esa responsabilidad de caminar con los más necesitados. But let us never underestimate the power of prayer. As we continue to pray for an end to abortion, let us double down on the prayers and sacrifices that we make for mothers, children, and families. So, my dear friends, let us go forward in hope. Let us especially take advantage of this moment, and let us finally build the culture of life in America by our love, by the way we serve our neighbors, by the way we care for one another, especially the weak and the vulnerable. We can renew the soul of our nation. Sigamos pues rezando para que se terminen los abortos. Recemos también por las madres, por los niños y por sus familias. Y sigamos así, adelante con esperanza. De verdad, aprovechemos este momento y construyamos finalmente la cultura de la vida en los Estados Unidos. Con amor, con el modo en que cuidamos de unos de otros, especialmente de los más débiles y vulnerables. Así podemos renovar el alma de nuestra nación. Pidamos la intercesión de María Santísima, Nuestra Señora de los Ángeles, que ella nos siga guiando y camine siempre con nosotros. So, let us entrust this beautiful vision of One Life LA to the intercession of Mary, Our Lady of the Angels. May she walk with us and guide us. God bless you all. Que Dios los bendiga a todos y que tengan una bonita tarde. Have a nice afternoon. God bless you all. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Archbishop Gomez. Powerful words, isn't it? Let's hear a round of applause. Thank you so much for your words, for your wisdom, for your faith, and we wish nothing but blessings upon you. Thank you so much for everybody for being here. We're going to continue, and with those special words, JC, I think it's very important that we realize that we definitely do need to keep moving forward. This is just the beginning, and by everybody showing up and taking that walk, we're doing something, and we're raising our voices. What you do on social media, what you do with friends and family, what you say impacts, and that is what we're ready to do, moving forward in hope.
Claro que sí, Marcela. Importantes palabras del arzobispo José Gómez que lo vamos a ver más adelante. Recuerden que los vamos a invitar para que nos acompañen a la misa a las 5 de la tarde en la catedral por los no nacidos. Sigamos en oración para que el aborto se termine. ¿Quién nos apoya? ¡Vamos!
That's right, JC. There's going to be a special mass at 5 o'clock at the Cathedral downtown LA. We invite you all in the special mass for the unborn. So for the past 2 years, One Life has awarded a $10,000 grant to a community partner that reflects the mission and vision that Archbishop Jose Gomez has casted for One Life LA. Every life is precious and must be loved and protected from conception until natural death. I think we all agree with that. That's why we're all here supporting One Life LA. And this year, our 2022 grant recipient is an organization that has worked fearlessly in our communities to support the most needed, especially during this pandemic. This year's grant recipient is the Society of St. Vincent de Paul of Los Angeles.
Así es, durante los últimos años, One Life LA ha tenido pues la oportunidad de trabajar con diferentes organizaciones. El día de hoy, pues les tenemos una donación de $10,000 a esta organización que ha estado con nosotros apoyándonos porque cada vida es preciosa y debe ser amada y protegida desde la concepción hasta la muerte natural. Así es que vamos a darle la bienvenida a Marcela porque hemos estado trabajando duro para defender la vida de todos.
Así es, JC. We welcome David Garcia, Executive Director for Society of St. Vincent de Paul, Los Angeles. Welcome.
Le damos la
Welcome to One Life
bienvenida
LA.
a David García, director ejecutivo de la Sociedad de San Vicente de San Paul, Los Ángeles. Bienvenido.
Good afternoon, One Life LA. Welcome. It is my pleasure to accept this award on behalf of the Society of St. Vincent de Paul Council of Los Angeles, our board of directors, our staff, and most importantly, our over 2,000 volunteers that are working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, pandemic or no pandemic, out there serving those brothers and sisters that are most in need. It never stops. So I want to let you know that every dollar of this award will be used, whether it's to house an unhoused person, where it's to feed the hungry, whatever. That's what the Society does. And if you're interested in the Society of St. Vincent de Paul, we have a booth. We're always looking to have new conferences. Those are the chapters we have at the parish. We're in about 135 parishes in the Archdiocese, so we're everywhere. Again, I want to thank all of you for being here, and I want to thank you for this most generous award. And I'm going to introduce our Deputy Executive Director, Susana Santana, to say a few words in Spanish.
Muy buenas tardes a todos. Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí apoyando la vida desde el momento de concepción hasta la muerte natural. La Sociedad de San Vicente de Paúl se honra mucho en recibir este reconocimiento de la Arquidiócesis de Los Ángeles este año. Y como dijo David García, estamos trabajando, pandemia o no pandemia, 365 días del año. Tenemos grupos de miembros voluntarios en alrededor de 135 parroquias en la Arquidiócesis. Y estamos aquí para ayudar a todo el que necesite asistencia, ya sea en vivienda, ya sea con comida o conectándolos con servicios necesitados en su comunidad. Les agradecemos todo su apoyo. Si alguien nos quiere ayudar, unirse a la sociedad, allí tenemos el estante donde pueden obtener más información. Y pues estamos aquí, les agradecemos también sus oraciones y muchísimas gracias por todo su apoyo.
Thank you, David and Susana. Here's your check. $10,000 goes to St. Vincent de Paul, Los Angeles. And we are sure that they're going to do amazing work with these funds for everyone in need. Like they said, pandemic or no pandemic, our work, our mission simply goes on. Let's hear a round of applause.
Fuerte, fuerte el aplauso y felicidades. Qué gran labor de San Vincent de Paul. Y para todos los que quieran más información, bueno, la invitación para que vayan al booth, al estante que está de aquel lado, para que se puedan unir a esta gran asociación.
Exactly. Thank you, Archbishop. Thank you, David and friends. You can help double the grant amount. Today we are challenging all of you here present and all of you watching to help us. And exactly as everybody has done during the pandemic or no pandemic, I think that was a strong declaration, right? We each do what we can to help, regardless of what's going around us. I think that's what's special, and that's what has pulled everyone here together at One Life LA this year. And for all of you here, we ask you to look around. There's different signs around the park, and you can scan the code, which will take you to a donation page. Any amount helps, whether it's $1, $5, $10, it all goes to our communities here in Los Angeles.
Claro que sí. Las invitamos para que nos ayuden a ayudar. Recuerden que cualquier donación puede hacer la diferencia. Pueden entrar al sitio onelifela.org, donde dice donar, y juntos podemos duplicar o triplicar la cantidad que tenemos en este momento. Así es que no se nos olvide, tenemos pósters con los QR, facilitos, simplemente sacan su celular como que van a tomar una foto y de ahí los va a llevar a la página. De poco a poquito se construyen grandes cosas.
Y también, I forgot that I'm supposed to do everything in English. It just comes naturally when I start speaking in Spanish. Well, we welcome you to also look at all the flags that are around the park. They are all filled with information. Our community partners, thank you so much. Olive Crest, Foster All, No One Dies Alone. Other organizations that are here with us today through God's Grace Ministry, 40 Days for Life, Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministries, the Knights of Columbus, and the Order of Malta and Sisters of Life. Thank you to all the organizations that support and are with us today. Thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts.
Claro que sí, muchísimas gracias a todas las organizaciones que hacen posible que estemos aquí el día de hoy, y queremos seguirlos invitando para que esto no se apague. Esto va comenzando, que no nos relajemos, Marcela, que la energía siga fluyendo para que se note que estamos vivos.
Estamos aquí and we're ready to keep on celebrating. Are you ready to receive another special invite that's with us today? Are you ready? We're ready to listen to some amazing testimony. We have a wonderful speaker who comes from Miami. She has worked in youth ministry for over 15 years, both as a youth minister and theology teacher. She is a presenter for Ascension Press and has a deep love for food, but even greater for Christ. And she is here with us today. She's dedicated to helping others encounter Him. So let's welcome Mari Pablo.
Mari Pablo.
How we doing? One life, choose life. Wonderful. It's so good to be here with you guys. I came from sunny Miami to even sunnier LA, and I have just enjoyed being here and exploring the beautiful city that is LA. But I think my favorite part has just been walking with each and every one of you and seeing those awesome signs that just prove that today we're here to celebrate life. But I think sometimes it's easier to celebrate someone else's life, and we forget the importance of celebrating your own life. And so I grew up in Miami, Florida. My family's Dominican, very loud, rambunctious family. If you see it in Encanto, has anyone seen Encanto? So good, right? I know, I'm obsessed. So something like that, I think it kind of celebrates the culture of who we are and where we're coming from. And so I grew up finding out that my life was a gift. And I would constantly hear my family tell me that my life was a miracle. And the reason why I heard this and knew of this is because I've had 2 near-death experiences. So I grew up in a hospital, mostly. I've had 13 ear surgeries. And when I was 7 years old, I was in a hospital for 3 months, and I was close to death. Of course, in the good Hispanic way, no one told me that that was going on. I didn't know this until about a year later. Has anyone ever had an experience where your parents run into someone in a supermarket and they have like a ketchup of life on aisle 5 by the bread aisle? Do you know what I'm talking about? Exactly. So that was me. I'm 8 years old now, and my mother is running into someone, and she's like, oh, sí, porque Mari, like, ella casi se nos muere el año pasado, right? They say, Mari almost died last year. And I looked at her and I said, Mom, I was gonna die? And she goes, oh yeah, honey, I just didn't want to worry you. And I was like, okay, and that's where I found out. And that's where I found out the huge miracle that my life was. So I grew up constantly hearing this. But here's the thing that I want to talk to you about today. I think it's crazy that we always wait for something horrible to happen to celebrate our own life, right? It's either we wait for something like a near-death experience, or someone gets cancer, or someone dies, or someone is struggling, and then all of a sudden we're really, really honoring these lives. Yesterday in Hollywood Drive and seeing the stars of Steve Irwin and Celia Cruz and all these people that have passed away, and understanding that we need to be celebrating each and every one of our lives now. To be pro-life, you need to first be pro your life. And so even though I grew up with this awesome story and knowing that my life is a gift, thank you, Lord, because obviously I'm alive, right? But we should be celebrating this all the time. And why is this so hard? It's hard because we live in a culture where we're constantly comparing ourselves to other people. We live in a culture where the closer you are to someone, the worse things you can call them. Do you guys understand that? I never understood that, but it's true. And we live in a culture where oftentimes the worst and most hurtful words don't even come from the middle school bully. They come from our own family. I love my family, and God bless my grandmother, but I have the grandmother who one day I'm too fat, one day I'm too skinny, one day my hair is too long, one day my hair is too short. My nails, if they're not red, she doesn't like them. And this is like how things are. But we need to understand that to understand our own value, we need to understand the power of words. And we need to understand that your life is a gift. And so I want you to turn to the person next to you, and I want you to say, you are a miracle. Yeah. And then I want you to understand something. To understand the gift of what this is, we need to claim who we are, right? And so all of these things that we hear in our families and all these things of what we do, the church describes the family as the domestic church. The church says that the family is a school of love. It is there where we learn our identity. It is there where we learn to love. It is there where we learn about our faith and who God is. It is there where we learn who we are. And so I'm looking at these beautiful families around me. Parents to kids, kids to parents, all of you, we need to be able to first edify each other through our words. That we need to be life-giving through the ways that we speak about ourselves and through the ways that we speak to each other. We need to be able to know and claim the truth of who we are. Even if I had this beautiful childhood, I've struggled a lot with knowing my identity, and it wasn't until I really encountered the Lord that I was able to really see who I am in him. That first I am a daughter, that first I belong to him. And so we need to be pro-life with our words. Even when you have the aunt that has different political views that leaves the chat because she disagrees with someone. This is a true story. This is my aunt. Even when you have the sister who has completely different views than you, even when you have the cousin that judges you all the time, we need to first understand that before we can disagree on something, we need to agree on the fact that every single life has value and has dignity. And the way that I speak to each one of you, the way that I look at you in the eye, I want to be able to reflect the truth that you are good and that you have value. And so in our homes and in our families, may we edify each other through these words. May we edify each other by the way that we speak to each other. That when we go to a restaurant, that we can take a minute to get to know who the person's name. Take a minute to look at them in the eyes. I teach students and I work with teens all around the world, and oftentimes they don't know their value because it's easier to think of 5 negative things than 5 positive. So I want to leave you with these words, and I hope that you can repeat it with me. I want to take a minute to claim the truth of who you are and the goodness of who you are, because it is only when you know your goodness and your truth, it is only when you know your value that you can value the life of every single human being around you. It is only when you can claim that truth that this world can truly be a culture of life. Not only because we're standing up for born, but from conception, there's a moment when the sperm meets the egg, there's that moment, there's a spark of life, that there's a microscope that literally shows a spark occurs at that moment. That your life is a miracle, and that we need to be celebrating that miracle every single day. And so in Isaiah 43, it says, when you walk through deep waters, I will be with you, and the waves will not overwhelm you, because you are precious in my eyes, honored, and I love you. So I want to claim these truths today. So please repeat after me. I am chosen. I am loved. My life has dignity. I am valuable. Now I want you to turn to the person next to you and say, your life has value. You are chosen. And you are loved. Thank you so much. I hope that you can help me to build this culture of life by the way that we love ourselves and love one another. God bless you.
Thank you, Mari, so much for joining us today, and we hope to have you back soon. Celebrating life.
¿Verdad? Qué palabras tan importantes las que dijo Mari Pablo. Esperamos que pueda estar de regreso una próxima ocasión. Nos hace pensar, nos hace entrar en conciencia y nos hace celebrar la vida.
Exactamente. And we're ready to keep on celebrating. Are you ready to keep on celebrating today with One Life LA? We have more music for you. Are you guys ready? Let's see your level of energy. Let's hear it. Let's hear it for One Life LA. Woo. With us today, once again, we have a beautiful group of women who are here to celebrate life with us. And they are a famous mariachi group here in the LA community.
Oye, y aparte de que son mujeres que tienen talento, una de ellas está embarazada y va a dar vida. Sí, señor. Así es que vamos a darle la bienvenida a estas mujeres talentosas y muy bonitas y que vienen a acompañarnos por primera vez aquí en One Life LA.
Las Colibrí.
Test, 1, 2, 3. La mujer está Escúchenme bien, señores, llegaron las Colibrí para cantar sus canciones y hacerlos sonreír.
Ellas son las Colibrí con nosotros. Muchísimas gracias, muchachas. Regresan con nosotros en un par de minutos. JC, they'll be back with us later on to celebrate more. One Life LA. Let's hear it for las Colibrí.
Fuerte el aplauso, que se escuche a la música tan bonita de mariachi, que nos alegra los corazones y que nos hace vibrar y sonreír, porque algo tiene la música de mariachi que nos pone a todos contentos, aunque muchas veces no entendamos lo que están cantando, pero nos mueve.
I'm going to translate what you just said.
Okay.
How's that?
That's beautiful.
He said that our mariachi music, even though sometimes you might not understand it, it has a special feeling to it. It's so magical. So we'll hear more of Las Colibrí later on today. So thank you all for being here with One Life LA. We are ready to hear a message from one of our main ambassadors. She's been a friend of not only the Catholic Church, the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, but also supporting One Life LA.
Así es que vamos a ver este video que hemos preparado y que ella nos ha hecho con muchísimo gusto, esta invitación para celebrar la vida. Ella es una gran actriz que por muchos años la vimos en televisión y que ahora ha estado defendiendo la vida y ha estado con nosotros desde hace mucho tiempo.
Yes, her name is Karime Lozano, and she has a special message for all of us.
Hi, dear friends. I'm so honored and blessed to be part of this wonderful event. Hola, amigos queridos. Me siento muy emocionada y honrada de ser parte de este evento maravilloso. Bueno, primero les voy a platicar un poquito en inglés y luego en español. Every Catholic is called to pro-life ministry, and it is up to you on how to discern your specific calling. I will briefly share my family's calling to foster care. I was a single mom before I came back to the faith. I have a beautiful and wonderful daughter, Angela. When I married my husband, Michael, he asked Angela and I if he could adopt her, but only when she would be ready. He didn't want to force it. Angela was 10 when I met Michael. By age 16, Angela printed the adoption papers and gave them as a birthday gift to my husband. Meanwhile, during this time of being married, we were open to life, hoping to have more kids and give Angela as many siblings as God would send. But nothing. We checked with doctors and everything signified that we both were healthy, yet nothing. Until one day at church, we saw a little kid running in the hall, and coincidentally, and I do this because I only believe in God incidences, entonces obvio que Dios en ese momento puso al mismo tiempo en nuestros corazones esa semillita de la adopción. Y una vez mi esposo conoció a un señor que adoptó 7 niños a través del foster care. Entonces nos conectó con la agencia con la que él hizo este proceso. Oramos con ellos y total que empezamos el proceso para certificarnos para foster care. Although there is a stigma towards foster care and the foster system, honestly, we had a beautiful experience. The Lord gave us clarity and strength to keep moving forward. And shortly after we got certified, our second foster placement was an adoptable baby boy with a bonus package of a baby sister who was expected a few months down the road. Quite a miracle, because we wanted a boy and a girl, Mateo and Ana Lucia. What a blessing. Cada uno de ustedes, de verdad que puede hacer una diferencia enorme en el movimiento Pro Vida. Y esta es una gran oportunidad. Si tú sientes que tu llamado es el foster care, como lo dije antes, o la adopción, dile sí a ese llamado que Dios te está dando en tu corazón. Abre tu corazón, ponlo en oración, escucha la voz de Dios, solo la voz de Dios, enfócate a Él y dile sí a Dios. Because you, each one of you, can make a difference, a big difference. God bless you all and thank you. Love you.
Qué bonito y qué poderoso mensaje de Karime Lozano. Y de verdad, para toda la gente que ha sentido el llamado de ser padre, de crianza o adoptar, les hacemos la invitación para que visiten 2 organizaciones que están aquí con nosotros y que ustedes pueden obtener más información en los booths que están de aquel lado. Son Olive Crest y Foster All.
That's right, JC. If you hear the calling to becoming a foster parent or to adopt, we welcome you to come visit community partners in this area. There are some representatives also willing to give you more information. And now it's my pleasure to introduce an extraordinary woman whose work has been acknowledged by Pope Francis. She is a sister with the Missionaries of Jesus, and she is an executive director of Catholic Charities of the Rio Grande Valley for over 12 years. She also oversees the charitable arm of the Diocese of Brownsville, providing oversight of different ministries and services in the Rio Grande Valley area, and also through emergency assistance. She also helps homeless prevention, disaster relief, clinical counseling. There's so much that she does, and so it's an honor to have her here with us today. In 2015, she also received the Martin Luther King Jr. Keep the Dream Alive award, and so she's definitely done her part in providing for the community, so it's an honor to have her with us today. She's also been named 2020's Time 100 list. She was on the 100 list in Time magazine, and she's the most influential person. Well, she's one of the most influential persons of the world. So it's a great honor to welcome a One Life LA Sister Norma Pimentel.
Bienvenida.
Muchas gracias, muchas gracias. Thank you. I'm so thankful for inviting me to be here with you. Today we are here to rejoice, really, to celebrate and give thanks to God for life. Truly for a beautiful life that we all have and everyone has. And I personally would like to thank you for standing here together as one presence that defends life. Because together is how we can make a difference in the life of so many that needs us. I also personally want to remind us that Respect Life is about embracing all life, including the immigrants. Immigrants are also people who are in the most part, at the peripheries of our lives. They're amongst the most vulnerable, those that are most suffering, that need our care. Yo soy del Valle, from South Texas, at the border. And every time I have a chance, I cross the border into Mexico so that I can visit with the many families that are there, that are struggling, that are being sent back because they try to enter the United States with the only hope to be protected, to be safe, and to offer their kids a chance in life, because that's why they leave their country. They're in search of an opportunity, of a chance in life. This is why we're here today, to respect all life. And these families, these children who I see almost every day, they're in conditions that are so heartbreaking. They're living in tents right in the center of the city as soon as you cross into Mexico. Right now in Reynosa, Tamaulipas. And right now, today and these days, our temperatures are really very cold. They're in the freezing. And for these families that are there outside in the open like you are right now, it's almost as if this place was filled with little tents, and we have 2, 3, 4, maybe 6 people under a little tent living there for weeks, maybe months or more. And with this freezing rain, these little tents become ice, freezing. I remember one day, one of the mothers that was in one of these tents late at night, she sends me a video of her little boy was crying inconsolably because his little toes were frozen. He couldn't stand the pain, how his little body was so cold. You know, families suffer so much at the border. They're needing us to be a voice for them, to speak up and defend life, defend their life, because all they need is a chance. All they want is an opportunity to care for their children. If they have a chance to cross into the United States, and those that manage to make it, many of them are turned back. But those that make it into the United States and they are allowed to remain, sometimes, like for example, this past week, we had a father who the Border Patrol found and all broken up and, thank you, all broken up and hurt because when he was trying to cross into the United States, a gang of guys, men, wanted to take advantage of his little girl, 13-year-old, and he didn't let them. So they beat him up, breaking almost every single bone in his body, and so the Border Patrol took him to the hospital. When he was released, we went to pick him up, and he shared that story with us. These are the stories that we hear for so many of these families. I ask myself and I ask us, why? Why must people suffer this way? Why cannot we defend life, all life, and come together as one presence that helps to bring hope to them by coming together as one, by helping others believe that every life matters, that we're here together in this earth to save us, to share with others the good that God has given us. But it is only if we come together as one, embracing all life and helping others to believe that only by embracing life will we be able to transform a world of indifference, a world that doesn't care, to a world that does care about everybody. And so I thank you. I thank you for being here today, for standing up for life, and for being a voice for those that need us. Thank you very much.
Que se escuche fuerte el aplauso. Qué gran mensaje, hermana Norma, y qué bueno que nos viene a compartir el día de hoy estas historias que cambian vidas y que la gente de la frontera está sufriendo tanto, Marcela.
Yeah, we hear about these kinds of stories all the time, news outlets, on social media, but it's so important that we hear it from people like you. Thank you so much.
Gracias a todos.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Fuerte
for
el
having
aplauso
us.
que se escuche para la hermana Norma y para la gente que tiene más preguntas. Recuerden que la Oficina de Vida, Justicia y Paz, que tienen su espacio en el área de organizaciones comunitarias aquí con nosotros, están ofreciendo recursos e información en asuntos de inmigración para que los visiten y obtengan pues más cosas para aprender.
That's right, JC. Our next speaker was ordained permanent deacon in 2004 and serves at St. Peter's Cathedral in the Diocese of Scranton. He is founding member and president of the Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministers, and he, along with family and friends, has founded the Katie Foundation after his daughter Kathleen died by suicide in 2016. He is here today to talk about something that is very, very important, something that we hear a lot about and that we all should be speaking about, mental health. Let's welcome Deacon Ed Schooner to One Life LA. Welcome.
Good afternoon. My daughter Katie had a mental illness, and she died by suicide when she was 29. I want to tell you the story of the beauty and dignity of Katie's life, and I also want to tell you what I've learned about the beauty and dignity of all people who live with a mental illness. People who all too often must live with the unfair burdens of shame and discrimination for simply having an illness. People who all too often are abandoned by our society and sadly, at times, by our church. We can do better. Everyone loved Katie. You couldn't help but love her. She was beautiful. She was vibrant. She played soccer, musical instruments, and always had a group of close friends. She was, in a word, awesome. Yet when her mental illness flared up, this mental illness told Katie that she was a terrible burden, that no one liked or loved, and that she was a useless mistake. This mental illness finally overwhelmed her and became lethal. There's nothing rational about suicide. Just hours after we found out that Katie died, I wrote her obituary. As you can imagine, I was in shock and in no way able to think straight. But God was with me. I wanted our neighbors and our parishioners to know what happened so that there would not be any gossip or hushed words. I wanted them to know that Katie was a good girl who had a terrible illness. I had hoped Katie's obituary would encourage an open and honest conversation in our small town of Scranton, Pennsylvania, about mental illness and suicide. What actually happened was totally unexpected and amazing. Katie's obituary went viral. It was covered in news around the world. Katie's obituary has been seen by millions of people. It apparently speaks to what so many people who live with mental illness experience. So let me read you Katie's obituary. It is short and simple. Katie Schoner, age 29, fought bipolar disorder for 11 years, but she finally lost the battle to suicide. So often people who have a mental illness are known as their illness. People say that she is bipolar or he is schizophrenic. Over the coming days, as you talk to people about this, please do not use that phrase. People who have cancer are not cancer. People with diabetes are not diabetes. Katie was not bipolar. She had an illness called bipolar disorder. Katie herself was a beautiful child of God. The way we talk about people and their illness affects the people themselves and how we treat the illness. In the case of mental illness, there is so much fear, ignorance, and hurtful attitudes that people who suffer from mental illness needlessly suffer further. Our society does not provide the resources that are needed to adequately understand and treat mental illness. In Katie's case, she had the best medical care available. She always took the cocktail of medicines that she was prescribed, and she did her best to be healthy and manage this illness. And yet, that was not enough. Someday, a cure will be found. But until then, we need to support and be compassionate to those with a mental illness every bit as much as we support those who have cancer, heart disease, or any other illness. Please know that Katie was a sweet, wonderful person that loved life, the people around her, and Jesus Christ. Since Katie's death, I have joined with many other good people to create the Association of Catholic Mental Health Ministers. We help people to start a new ministry called Mental Health Ministry. Mental Health Ministry is growing. We are thrilled to recently work with the Vatican and Pope Francis on his monthly prayer intention for people that live with depression. So please stop by our table and talk to us about starting a ministry in your parish. So I want you to know this. If you're struggling with mental illness, know this. Your pain is real, but so is hope. Christ will never abandon you. You are never alone. Christ sees your beauty. Christ sees your dignity. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Fuerte el aplauso para el diácono Ed. Muchísimas gracias por compartirnos esta historia, un tema muy importante del cual todos tenemos mucho que aprender. Si gustan obtener más información sobre el Ministerio de Salud Mental, visiten el área con la bandera color turquesa en donde se encuentran las organizaciones comunitarias.
There's definitely a lot of opportunities for us to serve. There's different organizations here with us today in which you could find a lot of information. So thank you so much. Friends, I want to remind you to please join the One Life Donation Challenge. Who's ready to join the challenge? Who's willing to keep on helping? We need to double the $10,000. So we ask you to look around here in the park. There's a few posters and what are these called? The little stands? Yeah.
QR codes?
Yeah, you'll find the QR codes where you can just click on it with your phone and you'll find the easiest way to make a donation. So if you're watching from home, listening on the radio, please visit onelifela.org and click donate. It's super easy. Any amount helps.
Todos podemos ayudar, hay que seguir entrando a la página onelifela.org y picarle donde dice donar para duplicar esta cantidad. Y señoras y señores, vamos a ponernos de pie porque está de nueva cuenta este mariachi que sí me gusta mucho.
So,
Y se llaman Las Colibrí.
adelante.
aplauso para las colibrí. El sauce y la palma se mecen con calma, sus hojas se tiñen de nácar y azul. Hermoso es el ruido del sauce y la palma, alma de mi alma, qué hermosa eres tú.
Qué triste es no ver esos ojos brillar, ojos de mi alma, encanto de mi amor, porque eres un ángel bajado del cielo que le da consuelo a mi pobre corazón.
El sauce y la palma se mecen con calma, sus hojas se tiñen de nácar y azul. Qué hermoso es el ruido del sauce y la palma, alma de mi alma, qué hermosa eres tú.
Eso, muchas gracias.
Fuerte, fuerte el aplauso para las colibrí. Hermoso, hermosa canción, hermosas ellas, hermosa interpretación. La música del mariachi nos hace vibrar de pasión. Más adelante vamos a contar con Sarah Kroger para que se queden aquí con nosotros porque la música todavía continúa.
Yes, we want more. We definitely want more. Welcome to One Life LA. If you are just joining us, whether it's here present with us at the park, through the streaming, through the radio, thank you so much for being part of us, One Life LA. We're so honored to have you. And today marks the 49th anniversary of Roe versus Wade. With the current Dobbs versus Jackson Women's Health Organization before the Supreme Court, we may be witnessing the potential overturning. There's a lot going on, so we must be aware. And there's the health organization that's also willing to help us and be with us. And we may be witnessing the potential overturning, of Roe versus Wade this coming summer. This has been a great hope for many who have fought for the rights of nonprofits, testifying to the sacredness and dignity of human life. Those in the pro-life movement have recognized the need to also seek ways to honor women with life-affirming support and attainable resources that assist in the needs of families who seek to thrive. A companionment is needed even more in a society that has adopted to throw away culture, raising a wellness of the numerous life-affirming resources available to all women, to children, and families. That is what is key to our outreach that supports life in all stages. And we are blessed today to have Sister Bethany Madonna and her fellow Sisters of Life with us here today at One Life LA. The Sisters of Life are a contemplative, active Roman Catholic community of women religious who profess the three traditional vows of poverty, chastity, and obedience. They also profess a fourth vow to protect women who are vulnerable to abortion, giving them the support and resources to be able to choose life for themselves and their children. Hosting weekend retreats, evangelization, outreach to college students in Colorado, and helping women who have suffered after abortion to encounter the mercy and healing of Jesus Christ. Sister Bethany's commitment to her community speaks to the true essence of walking with women who desire guidance and hope. So please let us welcome to One Life LA, Sister Bethany Madonna.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
Welcome, welcome.
Goodness. Thank you. Woo, thank you so much. Okay. Good afternoon, Los Angeles. Buenas tardes. You know, St. Peter exhorts us, always be prepared to give a reason for your hope. And I thought I'd share mine with you in a song. And please forgive me. Obviously, the acoustics are not great here. So here we go. Before I spoke a word, you were singing over me. And you have been so, so good to me. Before I took a breath, you breathed your life in me, and you have been so, so kind to me. Oh, the overwhelming, never-ending, reckless love of God. You know, there was a moment in time when God said, not another day without you. I want you to be. And he breathed his life into you. He loved you and he willed you into existence. You were not an accident, and nothing about you is a mistake. You were always wanted, and that never changes. I love fingerprints because out of the millions and billions of people who have ever walked the face of this earth, no two have ever had the same set of fingerprints.
And I'm thinking to myself, if God is going to take so much time to arrange and design the invisible circle pattern on the end of your finger to be totally unique to you, how much more time did he take with your heart, with the love in your heart? You have a love that is unique, and it's distinct, and it's yours, and it's sacred. I want to tell you about Brenna. Brenna found herself pregnant, and the father of the baby was pressuring her to have the abortion, saying, "Come on, you have the freedom to choose. So why are you choosing to ruin my life instead?" She became totally overwhelmed and fell terribly sick. She did not believe in God and had never cried out to a higher being, but one night, in total desperation, she did. "God, help me." The very next day, an agency she had contacted reached out to our sisters, and my sisters went over to her apartment and took care of her. Brenna began to see her own dignity. She began to experience her own goodness for the first time, and she started allowing herself to love the baby within her. Her boyfriend tried to make her feel worthless. So in a moment of clarity, she stood up to him and she said, "Hey, you are a loser. I am a queen, and this baby is a gift." You know, sadly, with abortion, everyone loses. Abortion is a betrayal of the human heart, a betrayal of the human family. After abortion, there is a loss of self-respect, the loss of an opportunity to love, the loss of a little person who was meant to be. St. Augustine once said, "Hope has two beautiful daughters." Hope has two beautiful daughters, and their names are anger and courage. Anger at the way things are, and courage to see that they do not remain as they are. See, Brenna's righteous anger and courage allowed her to fight for her own dignity as a mother, and allowed her to fight for her little baby girl, who, might I add, is the joy of her family this day. You know, I was talking to another woman who shared her abortion experience with me, and she told me how Jesus had reached her. I'm going to call her Catherine. Catherine fell away from her Catholic faith in college and was dabbling in other religions and philosophies. She was searching for meaning and love. She fell for a man, and after suffering 2 abortions with him, broke off the relationship, realizing this is not love. An aching loneliness and a need for God began to increase in her heart. So one day, she was trying out meditation in an ashram, which is like this Eastern yoga place where you go to be quiet. And there, as she sat in silence, to her surprise, Jesus Christ came into her meditation. She said he was wearing a robe of all white, and he extended his hand to her, and he said, "Consider me again. Consider me again." Catherine journeyed back to the Catholic Church, and she remembers her first confession after 30 years, sobbing. Mercy was healing her heart. Jesus found her and revealed his love for her, that it was particular and infinite, that his mercy is total and tender and without limits, and that he had chosen her, and he wanted her to choose him back. See, abortion lies to women. It promises to undo the past or to erase a pregnancy, but it conceals that it actually inflicts a new and lasting wound. It is a tool used to manipulate and coerce women. And the truth is, maternity is forever. Even one person can make a difference in letting women know that they are loved, supported, accompanied, that they're not alone and that they're capable. This story illustrates that. A woman was on her way into the abortion clinic to have her abortion, and she noticed another woman standing outside praying the rosary by herself. And she was ashamed and frustrated, and she looked away and went in and had the abortion. Well, 3 years later, she found herself pregnant again in similar difficult circumstances, and she thought to herself, I never want to have an abortion again, but I just don't know who would help me. And then she remembered there was a woman there that day. She was praying for me. I wonder if she'd be there. It was a Wednesday. So she went back to the abortion clinic that very next Wednesday. And who's standing outside by herself praying the rosary? The same woman. And she walked up to her and she said, "Hi, I don't know you and you don't know me, but I was here 3 years ago and I had the abortion. I'm pregnant again. Would you help me now?" They brought her over to our convent and we walked with her through her pregnancy. You do not know the fruit of your prayers, your sacrifices, your living witness. Lives can change in an instant. Our Lady of Guadalupe walked into a culture that sacrificed its own children to false gods. She stepped into the mess with the message, "I am your mother, and my son made the ultimate sacrifice for you." 9 million converted, and the bloodshed ended. Friends, we need Our Lady to come again into our hearts, into our homes. Give yourself to her. Share in her prayer in the rosary. Tell her what you need. Blessed Mother, we need a radical restoration of innocence. Make our hearts burn with love for your Son, Jesus, and let us experience the joy and freedom of purity. Help us to reject everything that ruins our vision of the human person, to reject pornography, the hookup culture, contraception, abortion. Women, we need to be who we are. Kierkegaard said, "Woman is the conscience of man." By calling men higher, men actually rise to the occasion. They reveal that they have a capacity to be protectors and providers, so never settle. Never settle for less than you deserve. It's better to be lonely than to be used. So young people, I'll close with this word. I exhort you, make a commitment to save sexual intimacy for marriage and get a nice chastity ring for yourself. Honor your body. Ask Jesus today, "Jesus, how did you make my heart to love? And how are you calling me to be a saint?" We need saints, prophets, and martyrs to meet the needs of the day, and you're one of them. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sister Bethany, for all you do and for Sisters of Life. Thank you so much for being here today at One Life LA.
Queremos darles el agradecimiento a nuestros patrocinadores, a la gente que nos ayuda, que estemos aquí. ¿Cómo se la están pasando? Muy bien. Knights of Columbus, Providence, Sofesa, Days for Life, a toda la gente que están aquí presentes. Si todavía no han visitado los booths, los invitamos para que lo hagan, para que obtengan más información. Y ahora, Marcela, nos toca darle la bienvenida a alguien que queremos mucho, un amigo de One Life LA y que ya ha estado con nosotros en el pasado, estuvo haciéndonos un video el año pasado, pero el día de hoy lo tenemos aquí en vivo y la tenemos presente.
Let's welcome him, Christopher Duffley.
Hey, it's Christopher Duffley, and I just wanted to congratulate you on One Life LA's 8th year. Now, I had to be with you, even if it wasn't in person. Just the other day, my mom pulled out the recording of my baptism. And it's interesting to look back almost 20 years ago on how I was welcomed into the church community. Now, I'm here to simply remind you that persons with disabilities need your support, and that God uses our baptism to call us forward, to actively support everybody at every stage of life. Now, when the priest anointed my mouth and said that I was to proclaim Jesus Christ as Lord, he wasn't kidding. And the same is for you. Now, it doesn't matter who you are, because together we are one body serving our Lord. But unfortunately, some members of our body are missing and do not find a home in our churches, or just simply feel unwelcomed for many reasons. Now, how much different would our churches be if we could bring the energy and inclusion of this day back to our communities? Let's not wait till heaven to see that happen. Let's do it now. When we say hello, listen, and pray, we open the door to inclusion in every church. Let us pray that our words and actions always say, "All are welcome." Thank you. Great to be back here again. And God bless.
Thank you, Christopher, for such a beautiful message and for your courage and your witness to the miracle of God's work. Thank you so much for being with us once again. JC, what's going on with the donations for One Life?
Oye, seguimos haciéndole la invitación para que nos visiten en onelifela.org. Queremos duplicar esa cantidad a la gente, pues con un poquito, $5, $10. Ahora que si traen $100, si quieren donar más, si les ha ido muy bien durante la pandemia y quieren agradecérselo de una manera, también se aceptan donaciones grandes.
So together we're looking forward to your help. We're looking forward to all your donations. So those who are here at the park with us, you can look for the sign, scan the QR code. It's super easy, and you can donate whatever amount that you wish. And for those of you at home, you can visit onelifela.org, click on donate. It's that simple. So we need to duplicate those $10,000.
Sí, claro que sí. Con la ayuda de todos ustedes se puede, y queremos agradecerle a las personas que nos están viendo vía stream, porque estamos totalmente en vivo en el canal de YouTube. Para la gente que no ha tenido la oportunidad de visitarnos, ingresen al Instagram de One Life LA y ahí está el link para que le hagan clic, lo compartan con toda su familia, con toda la gente que quieran que se enteren que estamos el día de hoy celebrando la vida.
We hope that you're enjoying yourself here with us today at One Life LA. Our final speaker is also a longtime friend of One Life LA. She is dedicated to promoting the sanctity of human life, marriage, and the dignity of the human person. She is a creator, host, and executive producer of the Gloria Purvis podcast, a podcast that discusses current news and the complex issues of the intersection of church and society. And it creates a space for those voices and perspectives not given an official platform. So please welcome Gloria Purvis.
Welcome. Thank you. You know, over the last couple years, we've been given many opportunities to love as Christ loves. With the murder of George Floyd, we were confronted with the dehumanization and brutal murder of a black man at the hands of a police officer. We must remember that Mr. Floyd, no matter what, is made in the image of and likeness of God, and because of that, his life was worth defending and protecting. He was robbed of his right to life and his right to a natural death. Officer Chauvin also was an example of the abuse of police power, a betrayal of the public trust by abusing what was entrusted to him. He behaved in a manner beneath his dignity as an image bearer of God. Racism breaks the bonds of the human family, and all are harmed by this grave sin. Sometimes Christ invites us to love as he does by inviting us to persevere in the truth, and it isn't always easy. For example, my husband and I, married, open to life. We were doing so many ministries in the church, helping women in crisis pregnancies, sidewalk counseling outside abortion clinics. We taught natural family planning, helped prepare engaged couples for marriage. We served persons suffering with HIV and AIDS. We were committed to serving. And yet, we had our own very heavy cross to carry. It was the cross of infertility. And I will tell you, as someone that was active in all these ministries, it was very difficult to deal with the gossiping that people did about me and my husband. They assumed that we didn't have children because we weren't living according to church teaching, a teaching which we were sharing with so many in the community. But we decided that, we would just suffer this loss of reputation quietly and offer it to God. And I will tell you, the cross of infertility is very, very heavy. And it wasn't one that I myself carried well. At some points when I was really weak and depressed about the fact that we were not able to conceive, I went to my husband, and because I loved him so much and I wanted him to have the gift of fatherhood, I begged him to leave me and to get an annulment and find a wife who could bear him children. And I remember the look in my husband's face when I said that to him. He laughed and said, "You aren't getting out of this marriage that easy." He was like, "Remember, it's death that can part us, nothing else." And so together we persevered, carrying that cross of infertility. And I will tell you that the temptation to use means outside of God's plan presented itself many times through various doctors. I mean, who would know? Who would know if we did something maybe outside of what God planned for us? Well, I'll tell you who would know. God would know. And we held on to that and persevered in the face of those temptations because bearing children is a good. It's an expected fruit of marriage, but it cannot be done outside of God's plan, no matter how much we wanted that good, no matter how many times, doctors would offer us these means to do it a different way. But we said no to that. And it hurt. But we were buoyed by each other and a belief in God's will for us. So fast forward 15 years of infertility, 15 years, I conceived. After many prayers, after a visit to Lourdes in France and bathing in the water, I conceived. Thanks be to God. But here's where it gets tricky. Although I conceived, when I went to my doctor to get the pregnancy confirmed, the doctor suggested that I abort. Here I was sitting in my doctor's office. I mean, she knew I was married. She knew I had money. I had a good job. I had good insurance. And yet she suggested I abort because, you take medicine, you're old, the baby will probably not be in good health, won't be a perfect child. But yet she knew I was well equipped. I wasn't in a crisis pregnancy, but what she didn't know is that I had Jesus. And that really sustained me in face of a medical establishment that really tells their doctors that the most humane and responsible thing to do is to abort if a child perhaps won't be perfect. And I sat there looking at this doctor trying to, appeal to me about all the things that could be wrong with my baby. And I just couldn't stomach it. I mean, to run the gauntlet to get to delivery, that's what it felt like every step of the way once I was pregnant. So much for choice when you're in the doctor's office and they believe that what you might give birth to won't be perfect. And so I told her, you know what, I don't care what you say. I'm going to have this baby no matter what. I don't care if I give birth to an eyeball with a piece of hair on it. That's going to be my baby. One day I'll put a pink ribbon on it and call it my girl. The next day I'll put a blue ribbon on it and call it my boy. But I'm having this baby. And she looked at me like, oh my gosh, she's a nut. And she was like, well, you know what? And mind you, we hear a lot in abortion, it's the woman's choice, it's the woman's choice, respect the woman's choice. Well, they didn't respect my choice. And to make the point even more, she said to me, what is your husband going to say about you giving birth to an extremely disabled child? And this was the first time she ever mentioned my husband, never considering him before when she was trying to exhort me to abort. And I said to her, lady, you do not want me to call my husband in here and tell him that you want to abort his firstborn. You do not want that. So she was like, okay, appointment's over. Appointment's over. But even then, going to get the ultrasound technician, all of them were geared toward aborting my child. It was legitimately like running the gauntlet to get to delivery. But I understood that we had to persevere in the truth and really trust in God's plan no matter what. That even if things aren't perfect, we are called to love as Christ loves. And we have to hold on to that and remember that, because sometimes we think, oh, if I do this, and the right thing, things will work out for me. It doesn't work like that. Life is a gift. And whatever God deigns to give you, we should receive it humbly and gratefully and thankfully. And not make demands upon his majesty, not make demands upon him, but receive what he intends to give us. And that's how we have to walk going forward. And at the crossroads we are in the United States now regarding the issue of life, we have so much work to do. We really need a revolution of love. And that begins with each and every one of us deciding that we're going to follow Christ no matter what. And yes, there are practical things we can do as well. And I'm happy to say that the bishops of California have committed to many, many things in helping us while we're at this crossroads. One of the things they said they would do is they would advocate for transformative family policies, which increase access to affordable housing, prioritize homeless, pregnant, and parenting women, expanding leave for families, making sure there's dignified care for incarcerated, pregnant, and parenting women, and streamlining the process for families for fostering and adopting infants and children. The California bishops are here with us to make sure we have real, concrete plans that we follow in trying to create this culture of life and this revolution of love, beginning right here in your home state. But what I want to say to you is, no matter when it seems difficult, no matter when it seems like things are going not the way you want, I'm just going to beg you to please persevere in love as Christ did. And I also want to let you know what happened with my pregnancy. Despite, all the warnings from the doctor that I would have a less than perfect child and all the hostility during getting my ultrasounds, I want you to see what happened. Lourdes? This is my little girl. This is the fruit of persevering and loving as Christ loved. And please remember, have hope, and we move forward in hope together. Choose life. Thank you.
Goodbye. What an amazing testimony, Gloria. Thank you so much. You had us in tears, literally. I think we have all, well, not all, but many of us have been through something similar. I know I can speak for myself. I had the same thing with my second pregnancy. They said, something's wrong with your child, something's wrong with your baby. Test after test after test. Oh my goodness, it was crazy. And I have a beautiful, healthy 8-year-old son. So that is why I celebrate life.
Muy inteligente y muy tremendo chamaco, pero estamos contentos. ¿Cómo se la están pasando? ¿Bien?
We are so happy. We are so happy. Thank you so much, Gloria. And you can catch her podcast, the Gloria Purvis podcast, on all your favorite podcast applications. And so we want to take a moment to thank our media partners. Thank you so much for supporting One Life LA, JC.
EWTN, El Celebrador, Relevant Radio, Guadalupe Radio. Muchísimas gracias a todos que nos acompañan cada año y que están presentes aquí para celebrar la vida. Y en lo que se va preparando la siguiente banda, nos regalaron camisas y queremos pues aventarlas para allá. Que levanten la mano. ¿Quién quiere camisas? ¿Quién quiere playeras?
Who wants a One Life shirt? An official One Life t-shirt.
Ahí va. Allá.
Let's see who has a better throw, JC or myself. Let's see. We thank all our media partners for being with us today. If you are here today and are thinking of supporting One Life, if you have a business, if you know of an organization, we would love to hear from them. And you can also go to all the booths that are here available to get further information on foster care, on how you can give back to your community. And also don't forget to scan the QR codes across the park, so you can continue donating and give back to One Life LA. Do we have more t-shirts?
Uy, tenemos muchísimas camisetas. Ahí te va. ¿Para qué lado? Para que las repartas. Muchísimas gracias.
I want the kids to come forward right here. All the kids. Let's give some to the kids.
Está chiquito.
Oh, miren nada más.
Ahí va.
All right, let's see. All right, kids. Here you go. Heads up.
Another one.
There you go.
Uy, los más altos. Tenemos más, tenemos más.
We have more. On the sidelines. There you go, JC.
Para allá.
We thank you from the bottom of our hearts for being with us. One Life LA, we're getting ready to close up today. And we are just so grateful to have you here today after being away from you for a couple of months during this pandemic. But we're so happy to have this crowd with us today. It means so much. And we invite you to come back next year as well. Save the date. We already have a date. It's going to take place January 21st, 2023. I know we're just getting started with this year. But save the date, bring your family, bring your friends to One Life LA.
Claro que sí. Recuerden que ya tenemos apartada la fecha para el próximo año, el cual vamos a estar aquí presentes, si Dios quiere y por supuesto la pandemia nos lo permite, y si no, pues lo vamos a hacer a través de la televisión como lo hicimos el año pasado, pero roguemos a Dios que estaremos aquí en vivo.
Claro
el 21 de enero del próximo año.
Del 2023. And we encourage you to continue this day with the Requiem Mass for the Unborn. It's going to take place at the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels. It begins at 5 o'clock. Mass will be celebrated by Archbishop Jose Gomez. Everybody is welcome to join us. For all of you at home, you can also watch it through our live stream, onelifela.org and onelifela.com.
Así es, bueno, los invitamos. Recuerden que la misa por los no nacidos se va a llevar a cabo en la Catedral de Los Ángeles, dirigida por el arzobispo José Gómez, para que nos acompañen a las 5 de la tarde, terminándose aquí el evento. Juntos caminaremos hasta la catedral para celebrar esa misa tan bonita que si no han tenido la oportunidad de vivirla, yo sé que les va a gustar.
It's going to be amazing. So we welcome you to keep on celebrating with us. Follow our social media pages. If you've taken pictures of yourself today, if you've taken your selfies with your family members, we also invite you to use our hashtag Forward in Hope and One Life LA. Tag us so we can repost your stories and you can share what One Life LA is about.
Claro que sí. Recuerden que seguimos esperando sus donaciones en onelifela.org para que nos ayuden a ayudar y por supuesto para que sigan escaneando los QR codes a la gente que ha estado visitando los booths para preguntar, para unirse a las diferentes organizaciones que han estado por acá. Si a ustedes les sobra algo de tiempo y quieren aportar para unirse a esta causa, lo pueden hacer obteniendo más información, yendo a preguntar. No cuesta absolutamente nada, simplemente lleguen, les dan su nombre y que están dispuestos a ayudar.
Yes, remember, it's onelife.org. That's the main platform where you can do all your donations, get more information. And so we're getting ready to close this event. I'm tongue-tied now. We're getting ready to close our event, One Life LA, with some music. So stay where you are. If you want to come up closer, we've got a wonderful set for you. It's so inspiring to see how many people come forward and help us out each year, have this event for you here in downtown LA, in our community. And for all the people who come from Southern California, from Fresno, from San Diego, from so many different communities joining us today, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for making your time to come out here and be with us today.
Claro que sí, el agradecimiento a toda la gente que nos hemos enterado que venían desde San Diego, que vinieron de Sacramento, que vinieron de San José, que venían de Fresno, que venían inclusive gente de Washington, gente de otros estados, de Las Vegas, de Phoenix, Arizona. Están aquí presentes para unirse y esperamos que el próximo año, el 21 de enero, seamos lo doble de gente.
All the different church organizations, all the youth groups, all the ministries, thank you so much for being with us today.
Muchísimas gracias a todos los ministerios, a las hermanitas que están aquí presentes, a todos ustedes, a los músicos invitados, a la gente que nos sirvió de comer, a todos los que están trabajando detrás para que esta organización y para que este evento que se hace todos los años se lleve a cabo. Les agradecemos de verdad, de todo corazón.
Oye, JC, ¿qué es lo que te llamó la atención a ti unirte a esta organización de One Life LA? ¿Qué es lo que más te llama? What's the reason behind you being part of One Life LA?
Bueno, me encanta porque pues yo soy un milagro de vida, eso dice mi mamá, ¿no? Que no me tenía pensada, pero aquí estoy presente y desde que me hicieron la invitación yo no pude decir que no. Tengo pues ya muchos años ayudando en diferentes ministerios, fui parte por muchos años del coro de la iglesia, siempre he estado unido y me encantan este tipo de organizaciones y sobre todo el poder estar aquí con todos ustedes.
I just asked JC what was his calling to be together with One Life and be with us year after year, and he's also been part of youth groups, he's been part of ministries, he also sings with the church choir. I didn't know that one.
Used to.
Oh, you used to.
Anymore.
You don't do it anymore?
I don't have
We all have our different reasons for supporting One Life, for celebrating life, and it's so beautiful. It's so beautiful to hear all the stories, and so we invite you to also take a look at who has been here today, what are their stories, because there's more to every story, and including listening to all the testimonials on the Gloria Purvis podcast.
Claro que sí, y ahorita que estabas mencionando esto, Marcela, esta es una buena oportunidad para conocer a gente diferente, preguntar por sus historias, hacer diferentes amigos, porque es bonito estar aquí en familia y que todos defendamos la vida. Entonces, pues a lo mejor ustedes vinieron solos el día de hoy y se van con varios amigos.
That's true. We're a big community. So if you have met someone new today, if you have connected in a special way with someone, that alone is one of the big, huge reasons to be at One Life LA. It's the community that gets together and gets to celebrate life from conception all the way through natural death.
Así es. Y bueno, pues no sé si ya estamos listos para recibir a esta gran invitada especial que viene desde muy lejos y que también ha estado pues ya participando en este gran evento. Hay muchos artistas que han estado el día de hoy que desde que les hacemos la invitación, ellos no se niegan y quieren formar parte y gritar que están defendiendo la vida, Marcela.
Así es. So we are going to continue with the musical set. They're almost ready to join us. We're ready to get some musical talent going, to get some inspiration, to worship together, which is the most beautiful part as well of One Life LA.
Así es que para toda la gente, no sé si ya se hidrataron, sí, ya se están preparando. Si ustedes no han tenido también, fíjate que no habíamos mencionado lo de las loncheras para que las visiten también, para que compren si a ustedes les dio hambre o a lo mejor no se han hidratado, recuerden hacerlo, visitar las loncheras y hay diferentes tipos de puestos para que no tengamos el estómago vacío y podamos aguantar.
That's right, JC. JC, you mentioned, the lunch trucks. We forgot to mention them, but there they are if you got a little bit hungry. If you're going to hang out here at the park, it's beautiful right now. It's so nice to feel the breeze after a warm day. So take your time to join us. You can move up a little bit if you have a little picnic area set up. As we close One Life LA today, you can come up and just join us and be part of our musical set to close up today.
Así es, y bueno, pues muchísimas gracias a la gente que está hasta atrás escuchándonos, para todas las personas que están en los diferentes booths, que están dando información por acá de este lado.
¡Saludos!
Muchísimas gracias a toda la gente que está sirviendo, a la seguridad del lugar que también nos ha tratado muy bien, a todos los que hacen posible que estemos totalmente seguros, porque también, Marcela, hay que decirlo, hay mucha gente que tiene miedo salir a las calles, que pues tienen miedo a contagiarse y el día de hoy pues hemos tomado diferentes precauciones para que esto no suceda y para seguir alentándolos a salir.
That's right. JC just mentioned something very important that I didn't really take a note of, but a lot of you are here even in the middle of a pandemic, but we made sure to make you welcome and be safe and feel safe in such an environment. I mean, we're in downtown LA where we have this beautiful backdrop, so we really hope that you enjoyed yourself in a safe environment and are looking forward to joining us again soon.
Así es, y una vez más la invitación 5 de la tarde para que nos acompañen, juntos caminaremos de aquí hasta la Catedral de Los Ángeles.
¿Caminando?
Claro que sí.
Okay.
Todos los años nos vamos caminando hasta la catedral, no está tan lejos y es muy bonito estar viendo todas las personas y esta misa que es tan importante por los no nacidos, de verdad se siente muy especial.
That's right. So the mass is at 5 o'clock at the Cathedral of Our Lady of Los Angeles. So remember, that is the mass for the unborn. JC says that he's going to walk his way back since he participated in the walk as well.
Who's walking with me?
Who's walking with JC? Anybody want to join him? Ooh, there'll be a lot of people walking back. So the mass is at 5 o'clock. So we invite you all to join us.
Ok, bueno, pues parece que ya estamos listos, Marcela. Vamos a darle la bienvenida al grupo. Y qué manera de cerrar el día de hoy, One Life LA. Agradeciéndolas de nueva cuenta que nos hayan acompañado. Recuerden, apúntenlo en su calendario, 21 de enero del año 2023, o sea, el próximo año, el 21 de enero, los esperamos desde las 11 de la mañana en la Placita Olvera para caminar juntos para defender la vida. Con eso estamos cerrando, Marcela.
We have our date set, January 21st, 2023. We come back next year with One Life, and to close up today, we welcome Sarah Kroger.
One Life LA, how you doing? Oh, come on, you could do better than that. I said, One Life LA, how you doing? Get on your feet, come on, come on. All right, clap along the beat like this. Clap, there you go, come on. God, your mercy reaches inside, past the shadows, let there be light. God, your mercy reaches inside, past the shadows, let there be light. So I was blind, can see again.
is no fear in, no fear in, there is no fear in love. 'Cause you are God, always for us, not against us. There is no fear in love.
In 1 John 4:18 it says, there is no fear in love because perfect love casts out all fear. And so I want to invite you to declare this truth over your life today in the face of a culture that is so often motivated by fear. Let this be our cry today. There is no fear in love. Sing this with me, will you? Here we go. Come on. There is no fear.
There is no fear in, no fear in, there is no fear in love. 'Cause you are God, always for us, not against us. There is no fear in love, no fear in love. Oh Lord, your word's alive, overflowing with hope for us. No, you won't ever lie. So with faith like a child we trust. Oh, you are like no other friend. Jesus like no other friend. See, there is no fear. Here we go. There is no fear in, no fear in, there is no fear in love. 'Cause you are God, always for us, not against us. There is no fear in love, no fear in love. Walked up Calvary's hill with compassion and love in your eyes. All to silence the fear of death in the grave with your life. Your life, you are like no other king. Jesus like no other king. Your Holy Spirit is alive inside of us. We won't be afraid. We won't be afraid. Sing hallelujah. You're alive inside of us. Fear is in the grave. Fear is in the grave. Your Holy Spirit is alive inside of us. We won't be afraid. We won't be afraid. Sing hallelujah.
Y'all doing all right? You all have some great voices. Do you know that? So beautiful. All right, this next song that I want to share with you before I... No, we got it. I just can't hear it in my ears. There we go. Okay. This next song that I want to share with you is a song called Belovedness, and the chorus of the song, it talks about how the Father sees us as His. And I just wanted to share it with you because we don't have lyrics on the screen. So it says this, it says, He says you're mine. I smiled when I made you. I find you beautiful in every way. My love for you is fierce and unending. I'll come to find you whatever it takes, my beloved. And my prayer is that today, as I sing this song over this field, that you would believe these words, that these words, this truth, that you are beloved, that you are delighted in, that you are known and seen by the Father, that this truth would make its way deeper and deeper into your heart today. This is Belovedness.
You've owned your fear and all your self-loathing. You've owned the voices inside of your head. You've owned the shame and reproach of your failure. It's time to own your belovedness. You've owned your past and how it's defined you. You've owned everything everybody else says. It's time to hear what your Father has spoken. It's time to own your belovedness. He says you're mine. I smiled when I made you. I find you beautiful in every way. My love for you is fierce and unending. I'll come to find you whatever it takes, my beloved. You've owned the mess you see in the mirror. You've owned the lies that you're just not enough. You've been so blinded by all your comparing. It's time to own your belovedness. He says you're mine. I smiled when I made you. I find you beautiful in every way. My love for you is fierce and unending. I'll come to find you whatever it takes, my beloved. You are completely loved and fully known. Beloved, believe He died to make your His own. And He says you're mine. I smiled when I made you. I find you beautiful in every way. My love for you is fierce and unending. I'll come to find you whatever it takes. He says you're mine. I smile when I made you. I find you beautiful in every way. My love for you is fierce and unending. I'll come to find you whatever it takes, my beloved. It's time to own your belovedness.
for a few more songs. You got time for a few more songs, One Life? Okay, good. How rare the riches of your glory. How deep the Father's loving heart. How vast the reaches of your mercy, stretching wider and further than the stars. More than a million words could say, 1,000 thank yous, a fountain of praise. With every breath for all of our days, Jesus, you're worthy of all of our praise. Of all of our praise. How wild, beyond imagination. How kind, the nature of your heart. How extravagant, the beauty of your splendor. We stand in awe of who you are. More than a million words could say, 1,000 thank yous, a fountain of praise. With every breath for all of our days, Jesus, you're worthy of all of our praise. Of all of our praise. 'Cause all of the glory belongs to you, belongs to you. All of the glory belongs to you, belongs to you. Say that with me, all the glory. All of the glory belongs to you, belongs to you. All of the glory belongs to you, belongs to you. More than a million words could say, 1,000 thank yous, a fountain of praise. With every breath for all of our days, oh Jesus, you're worthy of all of our praise. Of all of our praise, you're worthy of all of our praise. Oh Jesus, you're worthy, you're worthy. Of all of our praise, you're We got time for one more song, but before I do, I want to just introduce this band behind me real quick. Can you give it up for them real quick? Right here we got Mr. Dom Qualley on acoustic. Give it up for Dom. Holding down the beat, Mr. Luke Robinson on drums. And over here, amazing electric player Ryan Norman. Give it up for Ryan. It's been such a joy to be with you, to celebrate and just lift up the dignity of human life. Thank you for being here, for standing for human life, for being here, and for being a part of this day. We've just loved being with you. Okay, this last song, though, if you are in the back of this field, all the way up to the front, I need you to stand up, get on your feet. This is a dancing one. Can you dance a little bit, LA? Are you ready to dance with us? Okay, let's do it. Here we go. Get those claps going, come on. Oh, I want to hear the people singing. I want to feel the walls come down. I want to start a new beginning, finding a freedom in the sound. I know the power of resurrection. I know the life within your name. I know you're the author of salvation. Now I will never be the same. There is no fear when I am standing in your light. Made me a promise you were always by my side. My hands are lifted to the one who changed my life. I'm unafraid when I am standing in your light, standing in your light. Come on. Oh, I see the chains around us breaking. I see your people unashamed. I see revival in the making, all for the glory of your name. There is no fear when I am standing in your light. Made me a promise you were always by my side. My hands are lifted to the one who changed my life. I'm unafraid when I am standing in your light, standing in your light. Come on. All right, let's get some of these going in this field. Come on. Spirit burning bright, with me through the night, making all things right, standing in your light. Say that with me, spirit burning bright, with me through the night, making all things right, standing in your light. Get those claps going again, come on. Are you ready? Here we go. There is no fear when I am standing in your light. Made me a promise you were always by my side. My hands are lifted to the one who changed my life. I'm unafraid when I am standing in your light, standing in your light. Standing, standing, standing in your light. Standing in your light. Give a shout of praise to God in this place. Come on. We love you. We'll see you next time. One Life. It's been so good to be with you. God bless you. Bye.
Let's hear it for Sarah Kroger, all the way from Nashville, Tennessee. Woo!
¡Eso! Fuerte
All
el aplauso
right.
para Sarah Kroger desde Nashville, Tennessee, que nos está acompañando. Con esto terminamos y queremos agradecerles a todos por haber estado en este momento con nosotros. Los esperamos el próximo año, 21 de enero del 2023, para celebrar la vida.
We are done. It's amazing what we have accomplished. Coming back to One Life LA. Thank you so much for being part of us. Thank you. Let's hear it. A round of applause for all of you who are here, who made it to the end. Thank you so much for celebrating life, the dignity of every human life, from conception to natural death. From the bottom of our hearts, we wait for you. We wait for you next year. Put it on your calendar. Take note. What is it? January 21st, 2023. So we hope to have you back.
Y la invitación para que nos acompañen en este momento a la iglesia, a la catedral, porque vamos a tener una misa muy especial. La va a dirigir el arzobispo José Gómez y es una misa dedicada por los no nacidos. 5 de la tarde en la Catedral de Los Ángeles.
Yeah, we're not done yet because we're still going to go to Mass. We're going to go to the Mass of the Unborn at 5 o'clock, so we'll see you all there at the Cathedral of the Lady of Los Angeles. My name is Marcela Luevanos. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been wonderful and a true blessing to be back with One Life LA. And thank you, JC Cuevas.
Muchísimas gracias. Nos vemos el próximo año. Cuídense mucho y Dios los bendiga.
Blessings to all. Thank you so much.
You just watched the One Life LA event in Los Angeles, California. Stay with EWTN for more pro-life coverage, including a Requiem Mass for the Unborn from the Cathedral of Our Lady of the Angels in Los Angeles. I'm Tracy Sable. God bless.